Hi folks, and welcome to Global Warning News. And today we're going to be doing something different. We're looking at Department of Defense contracts, big contracts for military equipment and so on. But first, we have an award that we're going to be giving out today. And what is that award?
It will be the Pete Hegseth Award, and it's going to be given out to the contractor who has been given the most ridiculous amount of money this week. So stay tuned, that'll be a little later.
Yeah, and Pete Hegseth, as you might know, is our new Secretary of Defense, who was a Fox newscaster at one time.
A former Fox newscaster, who would have thought?
I don't know how this happens, but it did. So let's get into this.
Okay.
Specifically, what we're looking at will be contracts in excess of $7.5 million awarded by the Department of Defense for the good of the Army, Air Force, Navy, Marines, and other associated military agencies. And these contracts are published daily on www.defense.gov, which is the Department of Defense home website. You can look at and follow these contracts yourself by going to the Department of Defense website, which is defense.gov, and you go up to the search area, type in contracts, and that will take you to a page of various contracts, and the top one is usually the contracts that we're looking at, the contracts valued at $7.5 million or more, and that are announced at the end of each business day at 5 p.m. We click here, and that takes us over to the contracts by day, and we're going to click on March 3rd, as that's where we'll be starting our search. This takes us over to this page, and the contracts are categorized by the branch of the armed forces. We're starting off with the Navy here, and then we go down to the Army and the Air Force. And I'm not going to show you every contract, but we're just going to take a look at a few of these which are interesting. One of the March 3rd contracts that caught my eye was the one given out to Davis Memorial Goodwill Industries for custodial services for the Joint Base Anacostia Bowling in Washington, D.C. This contract was almost $20 million, $19,644,000 to be more exact, and not a very big contract by Department of Defense standards, but it just seems like a lot for custodial services, but that's a very big base. We move on to the March 4th contracts, and the one that stood out to me is that given to the Boeing Company of St. Louis for over $55 million for additional performance-based support requirements. I'm not sure what that entails, and it's not a huge contract, but what I find interesting is that it's an undefinitized contract. An indefinitized contract is one where the two parties come to an agreement on most everything, but something is missing, and that's most often the price, the cost of what the government in this case is going to have to pay the contractor, Boeing. And in my experience, the government usually gets the raw end of these deals. What originally caught my eye with this kind of contract was probably about 4 years ago when my congressman at that time, Mike Garcia, who's the congressperson from my district, said that in regard to this kind of contract, we need to be willing to say this contract is good enough to award. It's okay if defense contractors make a little more money or if there's a little more risk. We're trading that for speed right now, he said. Well, Mike Garcia was employed by Raytheon, one of the biggest defense contractors, prior to becoming a congressman, and I always thought that Raytheon probably was the what prompted Mike Garcia to become a congressman. But I do not like these contracts, and we see way too many of them. Anytime Raytheon is involved in a contract, it gets my antenna up, and this one is for $60 million for Bradley Fighting Vehicle spare parts. Also of interest here is that this is done on the part of the Defense Logistics Agency. That's an agency of the federal government that often does the contractual work for various armed forces, especially the Army. And that's a good-sized agency. They've got, at least before Musk arrived, they had about 25,000 people working for the Defense Logistics Agency. Here's another contract for AvFuel, and you can see how much we're spending on aviation fuel, $31 million, $21 million. Various contractors here, $19 million, $17 million, $13 million, $7 million, and close to $8 million. It was interesting that just a few days ago, there was a crash out in the ocean between England and France. It was the tanker Stenica Immaculate was moving jet fuel for the logistics agency. In any case, make no mistake about it, we are spending a lot of money on jet fuel. Let's move on to the March 6 contracts. You never know what you're going to see. Here's an odd one for blouses and trousers for the Marine Corps. Pentac Manufacturing Company, Puerto Rico, gets $14.4 million. Kira Logistics Services of Falls Church, Virginia, gets a $98 million contract for providing in-flight training for E-6B Mercury pilots. What's interesting here is the plane itself. The E-6B Mercury is a doomsday plane. Basically, it's a war room in the sky that we will use if the war rooms here on Earth get bombed out and become inoperable. The E-6B is made from a 707 Boeing. We have 16 of these planes at the moment. We also have some E-4Bs, which are built on a 747 frame, and we have 4 of those, and those are also doomsday planes. So we have 20 doomsday planes we can put in the air if things down here on Earth get bombed out. I'm probably, if when these go up, you and I will be gone. Moving on to March 7 contracts. Original Footwear Company out of Morristown, Tennessee gets a $44.7 million contract for men's and women's dress leather Oxford shoes for the Navy. How much is that per pair of shoes? Well, we don't know how many pair of shoes they've ordered, but if we take that $44.7 million figure and divide it by the number of active duty personnel in the Navy, which is about 337,000, each pair of shoes is going to be costing us about $132. If you go over to Amazon, their prices for military dress shoes are somewhere around the $40 to $70 price range. Here's a March 7 contract that's a biggie for over $642 million. This one's to Anduril Federal out of Washington, D.C. to deliver, install, and sustain counter small unmanned aircraft systems. I don't know what that is, but that's a whopper of a contract. That was a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah, holy cow. And we haven't even given out our award, the Pete Hegseth Award.
That's right, our very first Pete Hegseth Award. We're about to find out who won for the week.
It's in the envelope.
Okay, who do you think? I'm going to go with Boeing.
I will. How about Lockheed Martin?
Okay, that could be.
Okay, got it.
All right.
I don't think those guys that, well, I won't even say their name. I don't think they'll be here. Okay, so the very first Pete Hegseth Award goes to, oh my God, it's AmerisourceBergen Drug Corporation of Conshohocken, Pennsylvania. And look at the amount on that whopper. It is. How much is that? I can't read the number.
Looks like $5,649,602,820.
$5,649,000,000.
Yeah, and the amount for the whole
Wowzers.
week of March 3rd through the 8th of 2025 was $10,723,000,000. So they received more than half of the week's amount of contract money.
You know, it was funny.
What was it for?
There were some other pharmaceutical compers on there too.
Mm-hmm. Oh, really? Who else have we got?
Yeah, there was AmerisourceBergen on there that week.
Mm-hmm.
Then there was also DMS Pharmaceutical Group for $277,666,000. There was also Cardinal Health for $16,564,000.
Wow.
So, yeah, and that was all on March 7th, 2025. And
Big day for pharmaceuticals for the
it's all
military.
for pharmaceutical and pharmaceutical-related products. And
Okay.
I just can't imagine, our soldiers, I would think, would be in pretty good shape. I don't know why they would need $5 billion of pharmaceuticals. That's a whole lot. That's like 18-wheeler after 18-wheeler just backing up to our military depots and unloading drugs.
Unless they're overcharging for them, and let's hope they're not. They wouldn't do
They
that.
wouldn't do that. These are patriotic companies. Of course they're going to overcharge for them. They're going to talk somebody into placing a much bigger order than needed. Then they'll probably, once the expiration date hits and those Army and Navy and Marine depots, they'll throw the stuff out. So, yeah, well, that's quite a piece. And I know you've got some figures here as to, what was the total amount for the week?
Yeah, the total was $10,723,770,000. So just to put this in perspective here, this would pay for, at a cost of $364,000, the educational cost for 29,417 new medical doctors, and that includes both undergraduates and medical degrees. So in other words, that money could have been spent another way if we could have helped some doctors get their degrees. And based on an average salary of $350,000 for those doctors, it would pay the yearly salary of 30,000 medical doctors. So that gives you
Now, do we
some
need
perspective.
more doctors, or do you think we need some more missiles, nuclear missiles?
Well, I don't know how long you've waited to see your doctor at times, but I've had to wait 2 to 3 months sometimes to see my doctor. So yeah, we need better medical care in our country. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
So here's another perspective. Based on a cost of $110 per week, the annual yearly food cost would feed 1,874,786 adults, and that's $10 billion
And that's for a year?
per year.
So you could feed over 1.8 million adults for a year.
With that $10 billion.
What the DoD spent on expensive contracts just in the week.
Exactly.
Okay.
One more. At an annual average salary of $48,000, you know, who's willing to work for that much?
National Park Service
Yep.
employees.
We could hire 223,412 full-time National Park Rangers with that $10 billion. And I don't know about you, but I have such fond memories of going to national parks with my family when I was growing up. And I don't want people to lose that. I don't want
I'm glad you've got those memories. That's really good.
I want other families to have that memory.
Well, a couple of weeks ago, they decided the administration just said, well, we're going to drop all the seasonal employees, which meant that all of a sudden national parks can't take everybody who wants to come there this summer. So us poor little jabronis, and all we want is a week or two in a national park this summer. Can't have it, pal, because it's costing too much. We're dropping these seasonal employees so we can spend $500 million on drugs.
Yeah, our priorities are definitely screwed up, in my opinion, in our country. And that's not to say we don't care about the military and that we're not patriotic ourselves. We care about our country. We want to stay strong, but we want things to be in balance, don't you think?
Yeah, this is why we're doing this. We're both born in this country. We both live in this country. No plans of moving. But we remember a country that was in just much better shape, much better run than it is now. Now it's just total chaos and insanity. So, but at any rate, I think it's important that we want to bring you this information, and we want you to keep coming back and getting it. We've got so much good information here. And some of our information, if you go to our YouTube channel and watch the Sentinel missile video or the JLTV piece, why they describe how much overbuying the government does, the Department of Defense. And it's like there are things we need, but these JLTVs that replace the Humvees. We have a demonstration in that film that if you park these JLTVs about 20 feet long, bumper to bumper, you could drive 80 miles. And you'd still be passing these JLTVs along the side of the highway, parked bumper to bumper.
That's
And we just
crazy.
don't, what kind of war are we going to need that many JLTVs? Or we're trying to buy at least 2,700 F-35 fighter jets. What kind of war would we need 2,700 F-35 fighter jets along with our F-16s, F-18s, and F-22s that we already have? So,
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. When is enough? What's enough? Maybe we've reached that already and we're just on autopilot, no pun intended, and we just keep going, even though we've already reached a really secure place with our military. And I think sometimes maybe it's the lobbyists who
yeah, in the
convince-
meantime, our national debt is like drowning us.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're going to be doing some more videos on government overbuying, places where, maybe we need an F-35 jet, but do we need 2,700 of them? If we had 400, we'd probably, I don't know how would you use 400 in any one war.
Yeah.
But
cost
the
of each
helmet
one.
for those pilots, just the helmets they wear.
How much are
$400,000 for one F-35 jet fighter pilot's helmet.
Wow.
So yeah, at any rate, why?
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Well, we're going to keep reporting on this, and we want to do this every week if possible. We want to give you the weekly contract amount, right? And that's kind of our goal. So please like, share, and subscribe. Your viewership and our passion for the good of our country is what keeps us going. We're self-funded. That means we don't take a dime from anybody. In addition to defense spending, upcoming videos include person on the street interviews, a look at wildfires and current grocery store prices, the ones that Trump said he was going to bring down on day one. Well, that didn't happen. We knew that wouldn't happen. But anyway, we're going to revisit those prices in the grocery stores so that we can help see what's affecting your own grocery bill at home. So stay safe, stay well.